It has been a long journey, but we are finally in the campervan. It has been about 4 years since we started looking into starting van life. Now finally, we are here. So this morning we're in sunny Selsey. We booked ourselves into a campsite for 2 weeks, and the idea is that we have our shakedown. We get used to the van, we get used to living in the van, and we're absolutely blessed with the weather. I can imagine doing this in the rain, and the cold would be a lot tougher. So being in shorts and t-shirt, 7 a.m. going for a walk in this place is just fantastic. Now what I wanted to do with this video is bring you along the journey that we've had over the last 4 years. Starting from when we bought our initial camper van to where we are now with a completely different van and a completely different setup. So roll back 4 years ago, we were looking at buying a camper van. We didn't want to make one because I was just nervous about it. So we were looking to buy a van, and we ended up at a place called Camper Sales. Lovely people, and we found ourselves a Grand Canyon Heimer something or another. And it's a very similar layout to what we've got now, but just kind of an out-of-the-box solution. You know, Murphy bed at the back, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, we put down a deposit, and the van itself was about £80,000. When COVID hit, it just delayed everything. So fast forward 6 months, no update on the van. Another 6 months, no update on the van. Delays. We hang in there, we were still waiting, and then unfortunately, obviously the war with Russia and Ukraine happened, and we were told that parts for Fiat Ducato were just not happening. So the builds were just not happening. So again, we got delayed on the van. You know, it's not a problem. There's worse things in life, right? There's wars going on, but that meant we had the delay on the van. And at this point, they told us, we honestly, Dan, we have no idea when this van may or may not arrive. We just don't know. So at this point, we said, you know, is there any chance we can get our deposit back? There is no way this van's going to arrive. What can we do? So very kindly, they gave the deposit back, and that's when we started hunting for the panel van. Now, since we were going to be building our own van at this point, I really wanted to go for a 4x4, just so we can go to places. I mean, you know, if I was allowed, being able to drive down this road and just park on this grass would be great. Now, you could probably do this in a 2-wheel drive, but it'd be lovely to be able to get ourselves to some places that are slightly off the beaten track. You know, do some green laning in the UK, do some off-roading anywhere else. And yeah, just get off grid, really. Get off grid, get off road. So we started the hunt for the 4x4s. Mercedes Sprinters, couldn't find them anywhere. Obviously this was post-COVID. The used market went up through the roof. So I couldn't find a Mercedes Sprinter. Ford didn't do 4x4. I didn't really know about MAN at this point, so we ended up down at VW. And we bought ourselves a 4x4 4Motion Crafter. And this is when the build started. Actually, the van was delivered 2 months early. It was very quick, so props to VW, everything that we wanted. And yeah, the van arrived, and then this is when the build actually started. So step one was getting the van wrapped. We wanted to take it from this white panel van to some sort of funky colors, nice designed van that, you know, you're proud of, really. So we've got it wrapped. The material's really nice. If you get up close to it and touch it, it feels nice. And I've always wanted a matte black car. Now we have a van. It's matte grey and black. So that was part one, wrapping the van. Step two, after we got it wrapped, we were told by numerous people to get it coated so it protects the wrap, helps it from stone chips and stuff. I don't know how well that's really helped. that I can already see some chips coming through, but it's nearly a year on at this point since we've had it wrapped, and the quality's still pretty good. So the next stage was getting the pop top. Now the reason we went for the pop top was because I wanted this ridiculous, unnecessary gaming setup in the back, and having 2 beds in the back, or you know, a double bed and a single bed was kind of very difficult with what we were trying to do. Now, some of you guys might say, well, that's very rubbish. It is, but you know, gaming's been my life. It's been how I've kind of made some pocket money. We're streaming on Twitch daily, and you know, with the blessing of the family, after some persuasion, you know, we have now the gaming setup in the back, and that's where the Poptop roof come into play. Having the Poptop roof allowed us to have 2 double beds. As we are currently finding out, we really need to get the insulation sorted on the pop top. It's not bad, it's not cold, with a good duvet and, you know, sleeping bag and stuff, but it would be nice if we can insulate that, and I think there's some really lovely inserts for the pop top that you can get. But that's why we went for the pop top. We also ended up putting the solar panels on the pop top with like a separate roof rack, so then the solar can sit on the pop top rather than, you know, losing that space. So credit to Roy for that one, which leads us nicely into the roof rack and the back boxes. Now, the reason behind the roof rack, or such an elaborate roof rack of back boxes, was purely for storage. Visually it looks cool, it looks like a Mad Maxy kind of vibes, but really it was for storage. So having some storage on the roof, we've got 3 boxes on the roof. We've also put Starlink on the roof. We've got space for some fuel and stuff if we do extra long journeys, and also on the back boxes on the back. Now, this was a cost. You know, I've looked online, I've looked everywhere. There's a company called Front Runners. Now with Front Runners, they have some really cool pre-made boxes and all that sort of stuff, and roof racks with clips and all that, and that's really good. But it wasn't really for what we wanted. Morning. So yeah, the boxes on the back were not very good for what we were looking for, really. So we ended up getting in touch with a guy called Roy. I'll make sure his details are below. And he custom made everything for us. So from the roof rack to the boxes on the back, the wheel carrier, he, you know, went and met him. He has his workshop, and he just made it all. Seeing this process was fantastic. I wish I could have documented it more, but this was great. Obviously, with this custom-made solution, the cost was higher than I had obviously wanted to spend. But yeah, but ultimately we have a lovely roof rack, lovely rear carrier, and we're just very happy with the way it's turned out, and it just works for what we were wanting. In total, the cost was around 9,000 for the roof rack, the solar panels holder, and the back boxes. Now, after all of that was done, that was all the exterior. The van build finally begun. Now, we spent months looking for someone who would be willing to kind of build us something a bit custom. Now, when I say custom, we do have like a pretty standard setup, you know, lounge area in the front, kitchen down the side, shower, toilet where everyone else would have it, bed where everyone else would have that. But the custom part really was finding and creating a solution for the gaming setup, and then obviously making it kind of to the design we wanted. Now, we searched high and low, and everyone was, you know, all the bespoke builders were not really that keen, or they hadn't really done something like this before. And then you would have other companies that would essentially build you their design and wouldn't really change from, you know, their own designs. You know, even if their designs were very close to what we wanted, they wouldn't then add that custom element to it. So anyway, long story short, we found Tobias, actually, Mitzi found Tobias. He has a company called Van House Conversions. So we went and met him, and on that day I gave him the deposit. He was the only person that we found that was keen to take on you know, my crazy project. So yeah, super happy. Obviously this took longer than we hoped. He had obviously previous builds that he was working on before he could start ours, and then once ours got going, the process was just long. And obviously for him to run the business, he has to build more than one at a time, so you can work on two, do two installations at once, do two carpentry bits at once, and things like that. So it definitely took a little bit longer than I'd hoped, but in hindsight, we are in the van in this weather, and I do believe if we'd got it in the winter, our sort of shakedown, our initiation into the van would have been a lot harder, and I can imagine being like bloody freezing here, but like, fuck it, I want to go home. But no, the timing ended up great. So the build itself, Tobias got the van in roughly August 2023, and we've just got it done now. So it's been roughly 9, 10, 11 months, give or take. But we're here now, we're in the van, we're in our shakedown. And what we did with the van, I'll just talk you through briefly the van idea. Lounge area in the front with a table that folds down, so we have a little bit of space. Let's assume when it's raining, there's space to stand up, there's space to move around, there's space to cook, there's space to, do some school work, things like that, if I'm on the computer in the back. Then we have the cooking area. Now we had this a little thinner than normal, so finding a sink and finding a hob was a pain. Getting a double hob in there would have meant we had no worktop space. We initially found a very thin sink. I'm like, Tobias, no, we need something slightly bigger. So we ended up finding a sink randomly in IKEA. So we got an IKEA hob and an IKEA sink. If you go back slightly, we've got a big fridge, which does take up space in the galley, which is a little bit of a pain in the arse, but it means we have enough food storage. So if we go off grid, or if we go, to a place we're not familiar with, we've got a lot of food storage. Then opposite that, we have a good shower, and then we have the Trellino compost toilet. I used it for the first time this morning. I think Mitzi was about to throw me out the van. I don't know, man. We gotta get used to composting our poop. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. So we've got the shower, the toilet, and then if you go back, we've got 3 big shelves of storage, and then you get back to the bed and the computer setup. So in terms of electrics, we have 600 amp hours of batteries, and we have 600 watts of solar, 600 watts solar panels, whatever. And I will do a separate video to talk about all the gaming, the electrical side of things. But we get roughly 8 to 10 hours of, gaming time on that PC. I end up getting a small form PC. It's not as powerful as a proper desktop, purely because I think the power supply is slightly smaller. But actually it's very nice. The PC runs well. High-end CPU, high-end GPU, which just about fits. I'll do you a PC run through as well. But yeah, that's like the area. I think I've gone for a slightly too big screen. I mean, size doesn't always matter, does it? And yeah, that's basically it. That's where we are. So the process has been interesting. It's been enjoyable. It's been fun. Not sure I would do it again, and if I did do it again, there's a wealth of things that I've learned already that I know that I would do differently moving forward.
So while we're here, we thought we'll take you on a little walk around this super cute little Selsey Seafront.
This is absolutely awesome. So you can see the holiday homes behind. These guys have got like roof terraces on them, and then the sea is just here. We were looking at the estuary yesterday, but this is it's absolutely awesome. You won't be able to see it on this, so I'll show you in a second, but in the distance you can see Portsmouth. So we've originally come from the other side of Portsmouth, down here, yeah. So you got the Isle of Wight there, Portsmouth there, and then I think Selsey town is like a little bit further in. And then here, I had no idea the scale of this, but this holiday home, this holiday home area is absolutely massive. And just down the path here is the beach, so we're going to have a little walk down the beach, take a little look along the seafront here. I think they have like a super old British seaside town fair type thing. It's super cute, so we're going to take a little look at that. Bless him, it's like 8 AM and Jack's gone back to sleep already. It's actually really lovely here. And just before we end the video, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously quite a few of you guys are interested in this lifestyle too. One of the biggest challenges, especially for you guys who know me through Twitch would know this, we ended up sort of starting the move out early May. Had to get rid of the PC, put it in the van, and then at that point we started preparing the house. This was probably one of the most stressful things I've done in a long time. Obviously we tried to sell some stuff to make sure that we didn't just give away things completely, make a little bit of money back, help support this, but it was just really, really difficult. So if you're thinking about doing this, give yourself a couple of months to start downsizing. Now we were only in a 1-bedroom apartment, but you find that you just have so much stuff, so getting rid of all that stuff was very stressful. But now we've done it, I personally feel good, like a weight has kind of lifted, you know. It feels okay, it feels good. We still have too much stuff in the van, we still need to get rid of some bits, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on that because it was crazy stressful. Obviously disappeared for a month. I haven't recorded a video on this channel for like 3 months, and it's been it's been a lot difficult. I mean, first world problem, right? There's a lot more difficult things going on in the world. But yeah, it was like a challenge to overcome, to be honest. So yeah, here we are, we're in the van. This is just a little bit of an update video. Thank you very much if you made it this far. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, if you do, it helps us out a lot. The next video we'll be posting hopefully is relatively soon, and the plan is to try and do one a week. And yeah, let the adventures begin.